The holes in Ultra side panels are spaced every 36mm, coinciding exactly with the height of the racking components. This means it is essential to count the holes shown in the drawings in order to position horizontal racking components correctly between two side panels. Let's take a look at the construction of a racking system, starting with the partial assembly of the load-bearing structure and moving on to the installation of various horizontal parts. The first thing to do is fit the horizontal profiles, lightweight if there is no vertical load on them, or heavy duty if they need to support elements like worktops or user's own material. Make sure the profiles are the right length as specified in the drawings. Then add whatever reinforcement brackets are required to keep the racking perfectly square. Brackets can be fitted pointing up or down. At this point, you can install the various horizontal parts. In this case, we start with the open shelves, which can be fitted either way up, as suits the customer's needs. Either way, always make sure that the hole count is as shown in the drawing in order to position each element correctly and complete the installation. Now we move on to pre-assemble any elements that need to be prepared prior to installation in the load-bearing structure. Let's start with the open shelf with case adapters, installed using intermediate side panels, arranged back to back and fixed in place by screws. First, fix the open shelf to the bottom of the side panels with 2 screws. Use 2 ABC 00005 reinforcement brackets to fix the 2 side panels to the horizontal profiles above. The case adapters can now be fitted to the shelf. Low-head Allen screws must be used for this job. The heads of these screws partly enter the holes and protrude by only 2mm. This solution fixes the adapters securely in place without compromising the functioning of the components beneath. The pre-assembled shelf can now be fitted to the racking structure and fixed at either side using reinforcement brackets whose threaded inserts align with the holes in the horizontal profiles. Finally, the shelf must be fixed to the horizontal profiles using 4 screws, 1 at each corner. Over the profiles, we now fit a marble-look plywood top, using screws to fix it in place. Once all the horizontal parts have been installed, the structure can be completed by fitting the remaining side panel using screws to fix each part as for the first side panel. Always count the holes before inserting the screws. Fit reinforcement brackets to the second side panel in the same position as on the first side panel. At this point, the whole structure can be positioned vertically to complete construction. Starting at the bottom, fit the lift and rotate hinges at the front of both side panels to hold the door that will close off the floor-level compartment. Next, fit the same mechanisms for the inverted open shelf higher up. Now fit the top door gas spring mechanisms for the top shelf. Use an engineer's square to make sure that the angle between the horizontal and vertical parts is exactly 90 degrees. This is essential if components like drawers, pull-out trays and doors are to function correctly once the racking is installed. Now the time has come to fit the drawers, which need special adapters. There are 8 models of adapter, each with specially shaped notches and holes to identify the correct position and the dimensions of the drawer. This V-shaped notch, for example, identifies a drawer depth of 36 centimeters, while this square hole with a semicircle means that the adapter is for the front of the racking. This round hole shows the direction in which the adapter must be fitted to the side panel, in this case pointing up and to the right. Finally, this rectangular notch identifies an adapter for the rear of the racking. The height of the adapters must be equal to the total height of the drawers, minus one hole. Adapters must be offset downwards, leaving the free hole at the top. If you just need to fit just one single runner drawer or tray, cut the adapters to the height of 2 holes. If the drawer is a double runner model, cut them to the height of 3 holes. Each drawer needs a total of 4 adapters, 2 at the front and 2 at the back. Now you can fit the doors to the lift and rotate mechanisms. Place the door for the bottom compartment on the floor. Pull the mechanisms out of the racking and rivet the 2 parts together at the front and back. Close the door and check that it works properly. Tighten the mechanism fixing screws. Repeat this operation with the door that closes the shelf above. Tighten all the screws securely. Now, fix the upward opening door to its gas springs. The shelf destined to hold 2 cases needs 4 adapters, 2 fitted back to back in the middle and 2 at the sides. Each adapter must be fixed with 2 screws. Now, let's look at the top shelf, which needs to be pre-assembled using a normal shelf element and 2 side panels. The assembled shelf must be positioned on top of the racking structure and fixed to it with 4 screws. Place a non-slip mat in the bottom of the shelf. Fit the clips and the metal space dividers. At this point, we can fit the drawer runners to the adapters, engaging the runner tabs in the adapter holes. Repeat this operation for all the drawers in the project. Then fit the drawers to the runners and check for correct functioning. Place a non-slip mat, clips and dividers in each drawer. Once the metal cases have been added to the trays prepared previously, this finished racking system is ready for installation inside the van. Our second example is a racking system with a pull-out vice bench. Count the holes on the drawing to find where to make the cutout for the pull-out vice bench, then repeat the count on the side panel. Position the protective mask on the side panel, with the selected hole in the center, and secure it with 4 screws. Use a marker pen to mark the outline of the cutout. Remove the protective mask and cut out the hole with an angle grinder. Fit the frame on the pull-out vice bench, together with its horizontal profiles at the cutout in the side panel, and fix it in place with 2 screws. Fix the profiles to the vice bench with another 4 screws. Now, take an open shelf and place a Euronorm container in it, aligning it so that the screw holes in the side brackets align with the pre-drilled holes in the shelf. Use a marker pen to mark the pre-drilled holes to which the outer brackets need to be fixed. Turn the shelf over and use a drill to enlarge the 8 pre-drilled holes. Now, fit the brackets and fix them in place with 2 screws each. Insert a Euronorm container in both the compartments to check that the brackets are correctly positioned. Adjust the brackets by a few millimeters if necessary. Check the position of the brackets again, then fully tighten the screws. To fit the open shelf with adapters for Euronorm containers to the racking structure, count the holes to find the right height and fix the shelf in place with 4 screws, 1 at each corner. This project also includes a door for the floor-level compartment. To fit it, fix the countersides with parallelogram action opening mechanisms to the side panels first. Then, rivet the door to them. Fix the synchronizing profile to the countersides from inside the structure. Then, check the correct functioning of the door. Place the racking upright and complete the installation of the vice bench. Fix the protective mask to the side panel with its screws and insert the vice bench into its slot. Tighten the 2 knobs provided to hold the bench in place. Next, we have to assemble a shelf for plastic containers. First of all, fix the shelf to one side panel with 2 screws. At the other end of the same side panel, fit the shelf with provision for space dividers. Now align the horizontal components in the other side panel. Fit the screws and use an engineer square to check that the angle between horizontal and vertical parts is 90 degrees. The screws can now be fully tightened. The section assembled in this way can now be fitted to the top of the racking and fixed in place with screws at the bottom. The outsides of the side panel can be used to fit various accessories. In this project, one of the side panels is going to carry a paper roll holder and a 4-hole spray can rack. The other side panel is going to be fitted with a horizontal rail for use with cargo straps. Cut the rail to size first, then engage 2 square head screws in the rear slot to fit it. A similar section of rail has to be fitted vertically to the side panel's front edge in the same way. This project also includes a pull-out tray for 2 cases, supported by runners fixed to the side panels. Once the opening and closing of the tray has been checked, special anti-wear plugs can be fitted to the holes provided. Here is the finished configuration, complete with all its component parts. Now, let's move on to the third sample configuration, starting with the shuttle-type case compartment. The first thing to do is fit the side panels with the necessary horizontal profiles and reinforcement brackets. Hand tighten the screws first. Use an engineer square to check that the horizontal and vertical parts are at a right angle to each other before fully tightening the screws. This check is essential to guarantee the correct functioning of the case shuttle. Fix the handle to the shuttle with 2 screws, then insert the shuttle into its rail and slide it in. The rail and shuttle can now be fitted to the previously prepared structure and secured with 4 screws in the desired position. Turn the structure the right way up and fit the counterside to the side panel against which the cases are to be pushed. The case retaining shuttle is now ready to form the floor level base for the racking above. Now, let's see how to assemble the locker. Place a side panel of the right size flat on the workbench and fit the various other panels. Start with the bottom panel, then the back panel, which is easily recognizable for its ventilation grille. Now fit the top panel. Secure all the panels with screws. Complete the locker body by adding the second side panel and fixing the top and bottom panels to it with screws. Now place the locker on its back and fit the front surround. Fit the surround with 4 screws on the inside, 1 at each corner. This particular locker is to be fitted over the case retaining shuttle assembled previously, with the 2 outer side panels aligned. Fix the locker to the shuttle compartment with 4 screws, accessible from inside the locker. To continue, place a side panel of the same height as the locker against the locker's inner side panel. Fix this in place with screws. Now, fix a second side panel of the same size to the other side panel of the case shuttle compartment. The next task is to add the shelf with side panels. Start by fitting the side panels to the shelf with 4 screws. Then add the closing panel at the back of the shelf and fix that to the side panels too. Now, fit the assembled shelf to the top of the racking structure you have already built, fixing it in place with 4 screws. Now, let's complete the locker. In the bottom, fit the shelf for plastic containers. Further up, fit the other shelf. Now, fit the drawer adapters and drawer runners to the insides of the side panels. Finish the job according to the drawings by fitting the drawers themselves and the plastic containers. As shown in the drawing, the section on the left of our racking is completed with a drawer and a number of open shelves with upward opening doors. Now we come to the last section at the top of the racking, a cabinet of transparent containers. To assemble the top part of the shelf, simply fit the plastic runners in the shelf slots provided. Turn the assembly upside down and lock the runners in place by pressing the shelf tabs down with a screwdriver. The runners for the bottom level of containers have to be fitted to special base frames. Turn these frames over too and press the locking tabs down to lock the runners in place. Now position the drawer cabinet over the shelf and fix it in place with 4 screws. Install the base frames you just prepared in the bottom of the cabinet. Lock the base frames in place by pressing in the tabs at the back of the cabinet with a screwdriver before fitting the plastic containers. To finish, let's review the key steps in the assembly of the 4th and last racking system in this demo video. Let's start with the base structure, made up of 2 side panels, 2 horizontal profiles, and 4 reinforcement brackets. Fix 2 heavy-duty horizontal profiles and 2 reinforcement brackets to the first side of the panel. Now, fix the second side panel and the other two reinforcement brackets in place. This project incorporates a tilting and removable waste bin. So, let's see how to assemble this. First of all, assemble the structure destined to contain the bin. This consists of 2 side panels and 4 lightweight horizontal profiles. Fix the parts together with screws and use an engineer's square to ensure an angle of 90 degrees between them. Now, fit the 2 bin supports inside the front of the structure and fix with 2 screws each. The bin compartment can now be fixed to the side panel of the main racking structure, using screws as always. This project also features a cabinet of sideways opening drawers to be installed over the bin, opening towards the bin's outer side panel. This cabinet is fixed in place with 4 screws at the bottom. Now, using 4 screws, fix a side panel inwards from the drawer cabinet. Fix a second side panel at the other end of the racking structure. To divide up the compartment formed in this way, assemble 2 pairs of side panels back to back and install them one above the other in the center of the structure. Fit 2 ABC 00005 reinforcement brackets on top of the side panels. These must be fixed to the heavy-duty horizontal profiles that delimit the top edge of the structure. Fit the screws with spring washers at this point. Now, fit the drawer adapters in the positions shown in the drawing. At the top, complete the configuration with the work surface with raised back and sides. Fix this in place from beneath with 6 screws. A pneumatic screwdriver is useful here. The racking configuration is now almost complete. The next step is to fit the drawers to their runners. Now, fit the stainless steel tray for transporting liquids using the usual 4 screws at the front. Finally, place the bin in its compartment.